Hi, it's Tim from UTB here, and in this video we're going to talk some advanced Google Sites stuff. We're going to look at how to insert all sorts of cool things into your Google site so that students can access some useful information, some useful apps, all within the environment of your Google Sites. This will minimize distractions and allow them to focus on what they need to do. It also is that 21st century role of the teacher being a curator of knowledge resources for students to self-discover. So you may have heard of iFrames before, and if you're new to Google Sites, this might be a little bit advanced for you, but just to recap, you can insert a bunch of stuff down into Google Sites, such as buttons and maps and calendars, but there's some things that exist outside the Google domain or the Google G Suite tools that you want to be able to insert. So some of these things we're going to look at today. We're going to look at how to insert websites into your website. We're going to look at inserting some graphing tools. We're going to look at inserting things like Pinterest and Padlet, etc., etc. So first up, let's just explore some of the basics. So here's my Google site, and you can see that I've embedded a Wikipedia page here. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to delete this one here so I can show you what we're all about. So down the bottom of my site here, I've got a blank spot, and I'm going to double click in there and click the embed tool. Now I've got two options here. I can insert something by URL and insert something by embed code. So we'll look at the embed code a little bit later on, but for this moment we're going to look at the URL function. So we're going to try a couple of things. If I go up to Google Arts and Culture site, which is a fantastic resource for all things arts related, I'm going to Control-C or Command-C the URL and jump back to my site, and I'm going to paste it in here. Now it's going to have a little think, and it's giving me a preview. So for this one, it's not going to allow me to embed the whole website, just a preview. So students will click on that and it will take them to the website. So you'll see quickly that some sites are a little bit limited. However, if we go to Wikipedia and grab a URL from there, we will see that we get some different options. So I'm going to click into something to do with this Kilburnie Park. How about that? And I'm going to Command-C that URL, or Control-C, and go back, and I'm going to double click in here and click my embed code and paste the URL into there. It's going to have a think about it, and unlike the last time, it's going to give me two options. If you remember from the Google Arts and Culture site, it only gave me the preview option, which students had to click in to go to the site on a separate window. But for this one, it's also allowed me to use the whole page. So I'm going to click on the whole page and go Insert. So you can see that the inserting function doesn't always run smoothly, and you can't insert everything under the sun. If a website has got too much content, or somehow the developers has not allowed it to be embedded for security reasons, etc., you can't. You just get a preview. Other websites, which tend to be a bit more pared back, you can actually embed the whole site in there for students to scroll through and look at stuff. The only downside you'll see with that, if we go into our preview, is that students don't get the normal web navigation kind of functionality. So here's a website I've embedded for my students previously. Just takes a little second to load sometimes, and students can scroll through and click within that site, but they don't have navigation options, and they can't bookmark things, etc., etc. So let's cross back out of that. Now you'll also see that some sites actually just don't work. So here I had the awesome idea of trying to embed webcam for students to watch the gorillas at the zoo, and then to be able to record the day-to-day operations, if you like, of the gorilla. So let's let that load a little bit. So here's my Houston Zoo embedded website with the gorilla habitat cam, and as you look down, this blank space is where the live cam for the gorilla enclosure should be, but it's just empty because it has an issue with the Adobe Flash Player playing within an iframe. So that one unfortunately does not work. So not all sites work. There's a couple other things that don't work so well with embedding iframes. Now, some time ago, we were given the function to put layouts into our page, and these are fantastic for sites and imagery. However, if you note, you try and drag an iframe into there, and it goes red. So you can't actually embed URLs or iframes into these layouts. That would have been pretty cool, because you could have had a website here with a bit of a Padlet and some flashcards or some Google Docs for students to write things in for that. But that's one downside to the iframes or URLs at this stage. So embedding Pinterest is a powerful way for students to engage with Pinterest boards while being in the environment of the class website. For this example, I've got some instructions for students on the right hand side and the Pinterest board here on the left. They can scroll through the Pinterest board and look at the imagery or resources or whatever they need to look at. One of the downsides to this is when they want to click on an image, it doesn't just pop open for them to pin it within their website or the class site. It actually takes them through to Pinterest. But nonetheless, just for browsing or just as a window into Pinterest, this is a great tool or piece of software to embed. So how do you embed a Pinterest iframe into your Google site? So the first thing you need to do is go to Pinterest and find your board. So open up one of your boards. Now above the title is this little icon here, which is an upload or share icon, and you want to just press copy the link and it appears here. So you just Control C or Command C that link. Now for Pinterest you need to use another website called iFramely. So you go to iFramely and these links are in the blog post, so no need to write these down at this stage. And you need to post that link from that Pinterest board into the iFramely dialog box and press the yellow check it button. It's always good to preview iframes before you embed them in your site. And here it's showing me what it looks like. I can click onto mobile or desktop and you get this code here. So then you need to copy the code, and by pressing the copy button, or you can select it in Command C if you like, and go back to your Google site. I'm in the preview version there, so I just need to cross out of that. And go back to your Google site. And when you click on the space, you get the embed code. Now for this one, you want to go over to the embed code here and paste in your Pinterest iframe data and click next. You'll have a little bit of a think about it, and then it will show you a preview, and you can go insert. I won't press insert because I've already got one there. I have found that Pinterest can't be embedded using other iframe generators. You really need to use iFramely for that, and that's quite quick two-step process to embed Pinterest boards into your Google site. The next thing that we can look at embedding is Padlet. Now if you're not using Padlet, once again you need to make your own account and that sort of thing, but just Google Padlet and they're quite good at walking you through all the setup stages. So how do you insert a Padlet? I'm just going to go into the Padlet tab up here. So I've got a few Padlets and I'm going to click on this art analysis one. Now when Padlet loads, you can scroll up to here and press on the share button, and there's a share export embed media page, and down here is the embed in your blog or website. So you can click on that, and just like Pinterest, you copy that code and then you go back to your Google site and you double click, press embed and go to the embed code, Command V that and go next. And once again it'll show you a nice preview and you go insert. The cool thing about Padlet, unlike Pinterest, is when you're in it, students can actually move things around and they can actually write in there, add screenshots and that sort of thing, search the web within the Padlet embed code. So it's actually really, really useful. It has a lot more functionality and interactivity than the Pinterest section does. So what else can you embed or insert into Google Sites? Well, the other great thing is Genially, which is I've only just really been playing with, is a way of making interactive graphics. So this is a graphic I've made for another online course that we're doing, and you can hover over the interactive points and more information pops up. So you could use this to make a science diagram, for example, and students could hover over the various parts and little tabs would pop up. So how do you insert those? Well, go to Genially and once again make your own account, and they're pretty good at walking you through those things. And I've just got some creations I've made previously. Now, when you're in here, you've got the little share button, which you can press, and then it's got the insert section here, which you press, and once again, same as Pinterest and stuff, you press the copy button, go into Google Sites, find a nice blank spot. I'm just going to do one on top of here, embed code, paste that in, go next, it'll preview it for you, and just go insert. You can insert it before it previews because you'll get an idea of it. Now this is put it down here. Now with some of these graphics, they tend to be quite large and so students need to scroll through them. So try and drag the blue dots to make it quite large, and then make sure you check it out and preview it before you show it to students to see what it looks like. See this one here, the TPAC Model 1, it's giving me a scroll bar and it's cropping it a little bit there. But that's a great way to make interactive graphics for students. Another powerful thing to embed in a Google site is GeoGebra, which is a 3D modeling tool and calculator tool. So this is really useful for secondary school teachers. And one way you can do this is to have a bit of a workaround. So for the Pinterest, we use something called iFrames. Now this doesn't work for GeoGebra, so we need to look at a different way of doing this. So GeoGebra, which is also in the blog, the link's in the blog there, is a 3D graphing tool. And once you've got the graph that you want, you need to go up and just copy Command-C, Control-C that URL. Then on a new tab in Google, just type in iframe generator, and there's many of these. This one normally turns up first, and paste in your URL into the iframe URL section and click generate. This will then generate the iframe code for it. Note, if you at all want to change any of the sizes, you can do so in the code here. I'm just going to leave that for today and copy that code. Then, like the rest of them, you go back into Google Site and double click, embed code, and paste it in there, and then go next. You can then insert that, and then students will be able to, that's a bit of a funny spot there, students will be able to use the full functionality of GeoGebra within the Google site, or even just to preview 3D graphs. So that's a really good tool to explore. Now the other cool thing that you can embed in your Google site is a Quizlet. Quizlets are a fantastic, fun way for students to test their knowledge and develop some content knowledge. So a Quizlet basically embeds a game, can be flip cards, can be a matching game, into the Google site. So once again, you just need to get a Quizlet account if you haven't already, and there's many quizzes that you can search for on there, or you can make your own. And see, I've got one brought up already, and then I click on the 3 little yellow dots there, and it gives me an embed code, and same again as I just copy those things and put them in the Google site. So this is an example of a Quizlet embed. So this is a matching game where students can drag and drop words to sentences and complete the game in that way. And they can also go here and choose a study mode. So they can select, for example, flashcards, and the embedded Quizlet is going to give them their flashcards within the Google site.